Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech Show for iLi Academy. Today is Wednesday, November 4th, and my name is Derek. Hopefully, everybody is having a good day. Uh, it's been a long day for me. Pretty much last night was up all night watching the election news. Just keeping an eye on everything that's going on with that. So it was pretty interesting. Just kind of just viewing the commentary, seeing everything that was going on, and kind of the drama that surrounded it. So it got very interesting. But the markets definitely benefited and gained some volatility because of it because it was just, there's a lot of action kind of in the market that occurred. Just a lot of back and forth that was happening in the market. So we're going to take a look at some charts now and see how we've been affected and how the market has been affected by that movement. We're going to see what things look like at this point in time. So we're going to jump right into the charts. And let's see, let's go over here. Let's see, my computer just restarted, so looks like there might be a little bit of a delay here right now, but we'll go through the charts as best we can here and see. I just want to pull up my other charts here. Let me pull up my phone charts here too as well, just to make sure it looks the same and kind of where we are. Okay, good. Yes. I was just concerned because we can see our connection here on the bottom. It was saying 0/0, but now it's changing. Okay, so now we've got some movement, which is good. But if we look at our Aussie CAD here on this 30-minute chart, we see that the Aussie benefited a lot or had a lot of volatility last night. We could see this great big movement to the upside, and then we had this pushback to the downside, and it just kept, just swinging back and forth. And currently, we're back pretty much near the high of yesterday. So at least where we had closed and where we opened for yesterday, we're already at that level after just kind of whipping up and down from that level a few times, 2 or 3 times here. So what I see here is that we are finally we've set up a full trend here, but then we're waiting on it for it to become a mature trend because our 200 is going to jump over our 720 here any minute now. So as that develops, then we should have trend to the upside. And so we would be looking to buy. So then we'd be looking to buy when we pull back past this 50 or past the 100. So the opportunity would have been to place an order maybe on this 21 when we pulled back past the 50 here. That was at the beginning of our trading day today. That would have been the point then where we could buy. But a lot of people may not have caught that per se, just no telling how quickly this occurred. So maybe that, maybe we weren't able to catch it. So our next opportunity really is to wait until it pulls down again past the 50 or past this 100. Then at that point in time, maybe the 200 will be above the 720 anyway, and that will give us some room to run there, and so maybe some momentum to the upside. Now, as far as the Aussie yen, we also see that we had kind of the same action, that kind of whipping back and forth. First, we went long quite heavily, and then we shorted quite heavily as well, like right afterwards. So it's kind of a topsy-turvy type thing, but you can see we're kind of almost trying to set up the same thing here. We have trend to the upside. So we have our 200, 100, 50, 21, and 8, pretty much in order to the upside. However, our 200 is still below our 720, right? And rate is above the 720, but it's pulling back. So when we get this pullback, this is when we're looking at it like, okay, this is giving us an opportunity to buy a cheaper position. So, it's costing us less, or we're getting a lower rate when we get in. So then our opportunity to buy, it would be either here on this 50 when it gets deep enough below the 50, or we can stick the order here maybe on the tip of this 21, just to be a little more conservative. That way, if the market really does turn around and go back that way, it's kind of committing at least to the direction before we get involved in the trade. So that would be the opportunity that we have for the Aussie yen right now. So look at the Aussie New Zealand, kind of the same scenario, right? We've got our moving averages all in order to the upside. Our rate is above our 720, so we're thinking buy. And then we got this pullback going on here too. So our opportunity to buy will be on this 50 or on the 21. Right now, I'd say maybe the 21, just to be, pretty clear that this is not going to continue to move down further. If it moves down further, then we can improve the order and drop it down here to where the 50 is, because that's just, making our entry point cheaper. Aussie US, almost the same thing, except for the fact that we've got our mature trend that's in development right now. The 200 has already jumped over our 720, right? So everything, the rate, all the moving averages are above the 720. So here we're looking for buy opportunities. We haven't pulled back quite to the 50 yet, but we're below our 21. So what I'd really be waiting for is a pullback at least to the 50. If we pull back to the 50, a little bit beyond, then my buy point is my 21. Or if it's deep enough, it'll be my 50. Right, I'll improve that to my 50. And I'll just kind of hang out in that trade until it happens. All right, let's go here. All right, for the CAD yen, we can see that we've got our 720 kind of just cruising right here through the middle. Right now, the rate is below the 720. It's dipped that low, but it's above our 200, which happens to be underneath our 720. So we're going to see what occurs here. So if we're looking at, if we're looking at short trades, we don't have anything set up. If we were looking at long trades or a continuation back into this trend that had started to set up, then we'd be interested in a buy maybe on our 50 or so, because the rate would have to kind of climb back over the 720 to actually hit that order and take us up. So I'd probably, if I was a buyer, I'd place an order here on our 50. The rate is, the rate would have to just be above the 720. So that's the only reason why I would do it that way. Typically, if rate is below the 720, then I'm looking pretty much, only at sell opportunities. But this is a little bit different. As far as the Swiss yen, we are well below our 720 as far as the rate goes. So here's our 720 over the top here. Our rate is actually well below that now, so that's good. So we're looking for sell opportunities. Our opportunity to sell would have been on this 50 or on this the 200 or 100 here as we came back down and passed there. So it may still give us the opportunity if we go back, if we rebound back up kind of into this range. We were kind of set up, this is what I see here. We kind of have a bit of a ranging market going on here. We're just going to draw some white lines here so that you can see kind of what I mean. Even if we drew it like this, we'll say in between these two white lines, most of the trading has occurred. So it might look like just a bunch of scrum, but when you put on the, the lines, you can see, the support and resistance kind of line, you can look at it and go, oh, we're really almost just trading to the right. And now we're breaking out below this bottom support area. Most of the activity all happens in between these two lines. So it's pretty consistent that we're moving off to the right. We're just kind of trading off to the right, even though there's a lot of fluctuation in there. And a lot of this happened last night with the election going on. We still were just kind of moving off to the right. And so we're going to see what happens here. The idea would have been the short here because we're below the 720. The idea would have been the short on the 50, the 200, or the 100. And we should have been okay. I would say we should have been okay, for profitable trades right now. As far as the Euro Aussie, this is nice. We're trading well below our 720, and our rate has bounced now from the lows a little bit past our 50, right? So our order entry point right now would probably be our 21 here, to be a little more conservative, right? If we continue up just even a little bit more towards our 100, then we can improve that order to our 50. Right now we're sitting really, really close to 50. So we don't want to put the equivalent of a market order in, or something so close to the market that we're just bound to be enter the trade. That's not really what we want. We want to get far enough past the moving average where the market has to really commit to turning around and putting us into that order. So the opportunity now would be on the 21. But once this rate gets up here close to this 100, then the entry point would be our 50. EuroCAD, same thing, right? Well below our 720. We're trading below the 720. We've got we've got a nice pullback past the 50, past the 100 here in yellow. We're up here about halfway between the 100 and the 200. So we could drop our order to short here on the 100 moving average, or on the 50 if we're being more conservative. All right. So go ahead and I'm going to delete this because there's no need to have that order anymore. Sometimes there will be orders that just don't trigger, so we can go ahead and delete them because it's just not necessary that it's going to work out. So what we could do is take this order here, right click, go to trading, and put in a sell stop. Right. So that's an actual order. I dropped it right here on my 100. Just kind of right click, go to trading, and then pick your stop order. So it's not very difficult at all to do. It definitely is not difficult at all. As far as the Euro Swiss, we're trading well below our 720. And then the opportunity would have been on one of our moving averages here as we grew up here past the 200, almost to the 720. Our entry order would have been here on the 200, or we could have been conservative and used the 100 or the 50. Any one of those moving averages we could have used as our reason to enter the trade, or the level that we wanted to enter the trade at. As far as the Euro Pound, right now rate is above our 720. We had this nice move up above the 720. We had a couple of customers that actually, benefited from this nice move, especially today. Like, I think it was this particular move here that they benefited from when it started to move up. Anybody who is dealing with Diamond Auto Trader would actually have been profitable on this, because we got a nice signal down here for the Diamond Auto Trader to buy. Okay. And looks like the rate is now, though, above our 720. So we're kind of committing to a move above the 720. We're going to coming down here and testing the 720 already as far as the rate, just kind of seeing whether or not this is going to be a floor for us. If not, then my sell order will be on maybe this 21, and it could be on this 50. And then depending on how conservative you want to be, this 200 or the 100. So it doesn't really almost matter which one of these moving averages you choose, as long as you're choosing one particular one, because the rate would have to commit to being below the 720 before we would enter any of those trades. So a short is our, is the order type that we'd be looking for. As far as the Euro Yen, we are kind of in the same situation. We are well below our 720. So as we, as we traded up here against that trend, our short opportunities would have been on pretty much any of these moving averages. And you can see where we would have been profitable already. So we could have dropped the order on the 21, the 50, the 200, or the 100. Here, any one of them, they're all pretty close together anyway, actually too. And then by this point, we would have been successfully, in one of those orders or so for the euro yen. For the euro New Zealand, we are trading well below the 720 again. So this is a common theme for the euro. We did actually get some action up here above our 200. So we could have had a short here during the day today, or yesterday's trading anyway, yesterday's session, which ended sometime today. So we could have shorted here on our 200 or on our 21 or our 100, maybe our 50. We would have been placed in that order. And then and any of those trades, we'd be profitable right now. So we would have been profitable enough to get out, today. So that's our euro New Zealand. On the euro US, we're trading below our 720. The rate has moved up, beyond our 200, between our 200 and our 720. And then we have the ability to short here. So we could have shorted here on the 21 or placed our order to short here on our 50, right? So place a sell stop there. Right, you see the sell stop appear at that level. And but if we want to be conservative, we could actually move that down here as well to the 200 or the 100. So those are the opportunities in the euro US right now. So we'll see it how the market will have to commit to that level before we actually enter. Now, as far as the pound Aussie, you can see that we're trading well below our 720, right? Because our 720 is up here. We've got mature trend because all of the moving averages are in order and below the 720. So everybody's in nice order. We're starting to get some real nice separation as well. So we got our 720, our 200, the 100, 50, and the 21, and then the 8 would be in green. I don't know why it's not on here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see, because this is trading at a little bit different, a different template. So that's why our 8 is not on there. But I don't need the 8. I really don't need the 8 because that's not really included in the analysis itself. So we can see that we pull down here past the, down here we're bouncing past the 21 right now, but we want to see this move back past maybe the 50 or the 100 before we're interested in actually taking a trade to the downside. See if it's kind of the same for all of the pound pairs. The pound CAD here, we're trading well below our 720. Right, we've got separation in our moving averages occurring now, and we're back up here against the 21. We're trading against the 21 here. I have a feeling that we may not push, past the 50 before we drop again here, just because of the level, that we've been dropping before. We'll see if that occurs. Now, what I do see here is this big red candle at the end. This is what I talk about when you see the 50 coming down here. The rate is relatively close to the 50, and then all of a sudden you get this real big push away from the 50. Eventually, it's going to rebound back towards the 50. So we know that this move is going to exhaust. So like I was saying, sometimes we can play this particular move, and then the Diamond Auto Trader actually will recognize this as a buy opportunity as well. As far as the pound Swiss, we are trading below the 720 because the 720 is here. So our rate's below the 720. So we'd be looking, and it's well below the 720 too. So it's not just slightly below, it's well below it. So we're going to wait for the moving average to kind of commit to that move as well by becoming below the 720 as well. And then as they drop below the 720, if we get pushes back past them, then we can drop our orders short well below the 720. As far as the pound yen, we are trading below our 720 as well. So we're just waiting once again for pullbacks to our 50 or our 100. Right now, the moving averages are kind of straightening themselves out, so we have to wait until this trend really develops. This once again is pound yen, which we said before we were just kind of consolidating. You kind of saw this consolidation that was happening every so often. And then it looks like, the last couple of days, we kind of bounced really, really high. And now we're back even below where we started a couple of days ago, So There's some activity. I told you that the pound yen has kind of that thing. It'll get a head of steam and really start moving after a while. Now let's look at the pound US. For the pound US, you can see that we're trading below our 720. Our moving averages are beginning to drop below the 720. The 200 kind of always was. It never actually fully jumped over. So our opportunity to short would have been on the 200, but we probably wouldn't have seen that because we had risen so high in the last day or so. The rate had risen so high, and now here we are headed back down again. So we'll see what today's market brings, whether or not it brings some strength to the pound or no. As far as the New Zealand CAD, we're trading above our 720. Right now, there's not a whole lot that we can do here. We're just going to have to wait till this kind of develops a little bit more and gives us, a mature trend. All the moving averages are below our 200, but they're above our 720. So it's kind of in the throes of, figuring out what it's going to do right now. If we develop trend with our moving averages above the 720, that will make me, more inclined to actually trade to the upside here. As far as the New Zealand Swiss, we see that we are above our 720, right? We did trade down here to the 720, so our opportunity would have been to buy here on this 200 or this 100 and the 50. Those would have been our opportunities to buy. And any one of those pretty much would have yielded us profits once we were down here, trading below the 720. It's almost counterintuitive that, even though the market is moving down, a lot of people would be shorting here because they're seeing so much down movement. They're looking at it and go, oh, there's little pullbacks and things like that. And then they're shorting it instead of buying it. But our filters are 720. The 720 is telling us, I think you should be buying here. Right? Or over the long haul, this is what was occurring. As far as the New Zealand yen, you can see that the rate is above the 720, but not by much. It's kind of hugging that same area. So our opportunity to enter here would be on this 50. I would say this 50 is our buy point. So if we right click, go to trading, buy stop, kind of here, we're close. So I can actually grab and drop it down to where 50 is at. So that would be our buying opportunity right now. Or if you want to be conservative, you can put it here on the 21. It doesn't really matter. We're above our 720, that the rate would have to be above our 720, and then the moving averages may open up back into the trend to the upside and give us some momentum. We see our stochastic here down at the bottom. It's not quite to 80 yet. It's probably in the 70s. Let's see if it'll give me a number here. I don't know if it'll cooperate with us there. Yeah, so it's at, it's 67.52, so I was close. It's at 67.52 right now, so as it heads up to 80, then there should be a head of steam here. So this might be a good trade to set up. If that fits, fits your trading plan, then that might be a good one. New Zealand US, we're trading above our 720. We've got our rate pulling back now. It pulled back to the 50, but it didn't go quite past the 50 a whole lot. And then it kind of retreated a little bit. So our entry order opportunity only here is on our 21 currently. But it is, if you're waiting for a deeper pullback, then I understand that. We can wait for a deeper pullback if we don't want to be aggressive and buy on our 21. As far as the US dollar CAD, we are trading below our 720. Our moving averages are in order to the downside. So we have trend, mature trend to the downside. We're getting some separation in our moving averages. We're getting separation there, which is saying that the trend can be pretty strong. But we did bounce off this bottom here that we find. We bounced off this support, and now we're between our 50 and our 100. So our order opportunity right now is on our 50 or maybe our 21 to short. So that's a good one that we can add. I'm $1 shorter. So, so that, dollar short, I'm $1 short. So, I'm interested in dollar short trades. So that's going to help us. Now, rate for the US dollar Swiss is below the 720 for sure. So we've got a little bit of green there, but the rest of the moving averages are above the 720. So we're not going to place a trade at this point in time on the US dollar Swiss. We need this to kind of develop even though it's trend to the downside, we're most of the moving averages are still above the 720. So that might indicate that there might be a move further up, or maybe we're not committed just yet to trading below the 720. So we'll have to see what that actually entails as time goes on. So we're going to let that develop a little bit more and tell the tale just a little bit more. As far as the US dollar yen, we are trading well below our 720. We had this whipsaw action in the market too. Look at that. That's just a huge this reaction to the election and the news that was going on last night, and then Donald Trump's speech and just all the drama that was surrounding it. I mean, it definitely delivered last night. And so we were dealing with all this movement. So I think that there were a lot of young traders and new traders who learned a valuable lesson last night about trading during news events and what it's like. Fortunately, we're able to weather the storm quite well. But our US dollar yen is below the 720, right? Trading below the 720. All the moving averages are below and in order. So we have a full mature trend here. And so we're just really waiting for pullbacks at this point. We're going to look for pullbacks to the 50 or to the 100, maybe even past the 200. So, and then these would be short opportunities for us. So hopefully you got some ideas out of the charts tonight, and hopefully this is going to help you. We're going to be watching the markets still very, very closely. The election has not been called, as far as I know, right now. We did have Biden in the lead as far as the electoral college votes, but may or may not have changed. We'll have to just see what occurs there. The Dow Jones futures right now are showing only down 11, but they've kind of been up and they've been down. Once again, they're still within that 100-point mark. So for me, the market ended up 300 today, I think, right? So we only really ended up about 300 some odd points. But at one point we were up like 700. So we did, we looked at it one time and we're up like 730 some odd points on the market. So it still was an up day, but the afternoon, it definitely ticked downwards. So we're going to see the futures are not really showing us a whole lot right now, but on the daily market overview show, we'll definitely check out the futures, and because we'll be so much closer to the opening. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we were only up 367, 63. So the market definitely pared back a lot of the gains that it made today. It's a good time to be in the markets. Just definitely sizing our positions correctly so that we're not overwhelmed, or the market doesn't overwhelm us with one of these whipsaw type moves, because with the litigation that's being threatened and all that's surrounding the market, and surrounding all of the entire world at this point in time, is all of that is going to add to uncertainty for traders. And then so there's going to be a lot of movement kind of going on. So this is a good time to be in the market, and a good time to have the knowledge to be in the market that makes you comfortable being in it and developing developing things the way that you I don't know, just kind of developing your trading style and developing your trading chops and experience. This is a good time, to be learning that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here tonight. Go try to get some rest. I didn't get any last night. I'll try to get some rest tonight, and I'll be back in the morning for the daily market overview show. So once again, my name is Derek for iLi Academy. I thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.